Welcome to the Christian Romance Podcast, where we go behind the books with inspiring Christian romance authors, exploring faith, love, and the journey that brings this story to life. I'm your host, Kelly Jo Wilson, and today we're chatting with Julie Klassen. Julie is a best-selling author whose books have sold over 1.5 million copies. A 3-time Christie Award winner for historical romance, Julie has also been honored with the Minnesota Book Award for genre fiction and multiple other accolades. She's a lover of all things Jane Eyre, and Jane Austen, that is. She lives in St. Paul, Minnesota with her husband and 2 sons, and now writes full-time after 16 years in publishing. Be sure to stay tuned until the end of the episode so you can hear about how to enter our newest book giveaway. Now, here's my conversation with Julie. Hi, Julie. I am so happy to have you on the show today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Kelly. Thanks for inviting me.
Yes, I can't wait to hear more about you. You are so interesting. You have all these beautiful, wonderful stories that you write. And I just can't wait. And I'm sure readers can't, or listeners, I should say, also can't wait to hear more about you. So why don't you just tell our listeners a little bit about your author journey? What got you started? What got you writing these beautiful Regency romance stories, and just how you were encouraged through all that?
Well, I was one of those kids, maybe you were too, that I just always loved to read. Always wanted a new book for every Christmas, every birthday. And I started writing stories when I was very young. But then when I got to college, I had this guidance counselor who said, well, that's nice that you want to write your little stories, but you're going to need to have a real job someday. And he's actually right. I mean, most of us don't start out in our 20s and write the great American novel. And, most of us need a little life experience under our belts before we become writers. So that was, I think, really good advice. So I started out in advertising and marketing, but I always was interested in books and publishing. So I worked for other companies, and then I got a job in publishing as a marketing person for Bethany House Publishers, a major Christian publishing house. And they didn't know I wanted to be a writer. I was just there as a marketing person. But God is good. And oh my goodness, what a training ground for someone who secretly wanted to be a writer her whole life. Working with talented, experienced editors, working with all these talented authors over the years. So that was kind of how I got my foot in the door. And then finally, like a lot of us, I don't know, my spiritual gift is procrastination. So I didn't finish my first book for a long time. But, sometimes what is that saying? Necessity is the mother of invention. My husband was laid off and for quite a while. And I thought, this might be the right time to finally finish that book that's been sitting there for how long. So I finished that. And I finally got to the place where I had a historical book written, and I was like, what do I do with it? I work for, in my mind, the top Christian publisher, at least in terms of historical fiction at that time. So I confessed to my boss kind of on the side, like, here's the thing. I've written this book. If you want me to take it somewhere else, if it's a conflict of interest, whatever, just tell me, because I don't want to do anything weird, and maybe you could just recommend somebody I should send it to instead or whatever. And he's a very wise man. And he said, no, we want to look at it, but we'll send it around with a pseudonym so that when your coworkers are reviewing it to decide, whether or not to publish it, they will be objective. And I thought, that's a great idea, because they're going to all think it's ridiculous. And then I can still show my face at work the next day. So that's what we did. And I had a nervous few weeks while I was waiting for my coworkers. And then after everybody had read it and turned in their kind of reports that they do, he was one who let them know who had written it. And thankfully they wanted to publish it. And that was Lady of Milkweed Manor, that came out in, I want to say, January 2008. So that's how it started. I continued to work at Bethany House for about 4 more years, or 4 books. As as you will find, it takes time for readers to discover you and to kind of build up some readership. So I didn't hang up my publishing badge just yet, but eventually I did, and now I'm a full-time writer, and I'm just so thankful. One, to God, obviously, because when I look back and see how he directed my steps and his graciousness and letting me have that job, and also to Bethany House Publishers, because they've been great to me both as an employer, but also later they're still my publisher today. So super grateful for the journey that I've been on.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. And especially like getting into the publishing world, like you said, without even necessarily like just loving to read, but not necessarily trying to gain some, like just wanting to get a job, right? So you get involved in the publishing. I feel like that was like, I don't know, maybe, sometimes you do some things like subconsciously, right? Like there's a little part of you in the back that in the back of your mind writing this book already. But I just love that, especially getting the marketing stuff, because I feel like that's the hard part a lot of times for authors. They love to write, they love to read, they have this book on their heart and they want to get it out there, but the marketing can get really tough. So you already had that big like obstacle kind of already overcome in a way. So because you already know the whole process too. So behind the scenes, I think it is smart. You're so funny. I love how it's such imposter syndrome, right? Like Julie Klassen thinking, oh, they're going to hate my book. So
I
good
still
thing for
think
the
that
pseudonym.
pretty much every book. I think a lot of us have that.
Yeah,
But yeah, but I
absolutely.
have to say though, so I worked in marketing as I mentioned, but I also eventually moved over to the editorial side. But the thing about marketing is that it's changed. I'm old enough that when we were marketing books when I first started, doing magazine ads and doing a lot of radio ads, a lot of things that are pretty much either gone or very limited. With social media wasn't even really a thing, at least in terms of advertising and all of that when I worked in marketing. So it's not quite as as easy. And you're right, though. Most of us don't really want to do all of those other things, but it is part of it. And aren't we glad that we get to meet people and people want to read our books? So
Oh
it's
yeah.
definitely worth it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's always, I feel like even no matter if you're like independently published or traditionally published, there's always that marketing piece, but it's really just, like you said, when you look at it as just connecting with people and just letting your books get out there so that you can connect with readers, that's like the most important part. And just hearing reader feedback and having those like touch points is just so so wonderful. I would hope that you get lots of reader feedback. Do you get lots
I
of like
do.
emails and such?
Sometimes I just shake my head, literally just shake my head and going, why am I so blessed? It's just like, I'm so
Mm.
glad I get to do this, because it is my lifelong dream come true. So when people email me or, tell someone says I'm their favorite author, I'm just like, me? That just blows my mind. But I am super thankful. But can I tell you one story, and you can edit it out later if you want. But
No way, I'm not
when you
editing any stories.
when you're talking about most of my author friends, I don't know, really don't like to toot your own horn. It's just really hard to stand up and say, buy my book, I'm a great writer, whatever. But
Right,
it's
right.
much easier to talk about somebody else's book. So I was at a reader event recently with my friend Erica Vetch and lots of other wonderful writer friends. And we were supposed to do commercials about our books, to stand up and do like a 1 minute commercial, either live or you could record it. And I said, how about Erica? How about I promote your books and you promote mine? We're like, yeah, that would be so much better. And in the end, we dressed up like each other. We went all out. I wore a black curly wig. I don't know if you know Erica much at all, but she's a hoot.
I
So,
never met Erica, but I do know of Erica for
okay.
sure. And from what and just even other authors talking about
Mhm.
her, working with her, I think doesn't she take part of a Facebook group, like
Yes.
a
We
historical.
are, she and I and Michelle Greep are part of a Facebook group called Inspirational Regency Readers.
Yes.
And there are some other Regency authors who stop by as well, but we're the main three who keep the content going and all of that. So she's a hoot. If you ever get a chance to talk to her, I would recommend it. But that just when you said that about the whole marketing thing, and that was a lot more fun than standing up there and saying, "Buy my book."
Absolutely. It's good to have good friends, especially in the business. Say, I will promote your book. How about that? And you promote my book.
Exactly.
It does take the pressure off because it is kind of weird, right? It feels weird to be like, buy this story. But then when you really think about it, it's like you're writing it for the readers, right? You want readers to be blessed by this story and live vicariously through these characters, and it's a good story, right? So that part of it, but it's hard. I know. I totally understand, but it's funny to hear you say, but yeah, I love that you get reader feedback like that. I think it's so, so important. I'm always advocating, and I'm going to say it today, right now, to get on Julie's email newsletter, please, because it is so important to support the authors that you love that way and tell them, about the stories and how the stories impact you.
And writing reviews and all that. I mean, I'm terrible. Sometimes I don't, like, I love when people leave reviews, either, in social media or on a retail site. And it's just a good reminder for all of us. It doesn't take that long, but it's so easy just to go on to the next book or the next thing. And yeah, there are easy ways to bless authors. And yeah, things like sending a quick email or saying something nice on social media or posting a review are really wonderful, wonderful treats for all of us, I think, to receive.
Yes, absolutely. I wish you had a video of this, you and Erica standing up there.
Oh, there is
like
one.
Each other.
I hope it never surfaces.
somebody
Someone
was
filmed
taking
it.
video.
Or at least, yeah, I think I saw a still of it for sure, but I hope it's not public.
Oh, that is so funny.
It was funny for we showed it at the event, but yeah, I haven't. It's pretty ridiculous, but life is short. Have fun. I love to laugh. So
oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
It, yeah.
Yes, she definitely sounds super fun. Michelle actually you're right. She was the one that was talking about it because she had mentioned about your Facebook group on the show before, which it does look super fun. So yeah. I absolutely love that. I would love to
if any of your listeners love, Regency and Jane Austen and all of those things, that's the Inspirational Regency Readers. It's the place that I think all three of us, at least for sure, Eric and I, hang out the most if we're going to be online. I have to be careful. I post far more on that group than I do just on my general author Facebook page, because people are so much more interactive, and it's just a lot of fun. We talk about our favorite places in England, or where we wish we'd go, or who's the best Mr. Darcy, or all those things that we love a little too much.
Who do you think the best Mr. Darcy is?
That would be Colin Firth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So me too.
I have to say, I'll watch pretty much any variation, except I didn't really like the zombie one, but I'll watch any of the new ones. The
zombie one? They have a zombie prejudice.
I have a very low tolerance for blood and violence. So I did not love that one, but I mean, it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek, it's supposed to be funny, but I can't get past swords and blood to laugh. So
oh yeah, me like too. Zombies are creepy. We always talk about that. Like my husband, because they do like zombie things for kid games and stuff too. Like they have like a zombie like for Marvel and stuff. And I'm like, why is zombies like a thing? And no offense to people who like that, but I'm the same way. I just can't get with the zombies. I'm such a like little Hallmarky, give me some good sweet stories. Just a good love story. But yeah, I didn't know that they have a zombie.
Well, I'm not recommending it to you, Kelly. I don't think.
Yes, it's okay. No links. No links to it in the show notes. Whoever's listening, you have to go look it up. But I will put a link to your Facebook group for sure.
Thank you.
Yes. I put the link in Michelle's episodes too, awesome. Because super, super fun. And then do you have a favorite place just saying in England that you have visited? Where have you gotten a chance to visit anywhere in England before?
When I started writing that first book way back in the dark ages, I had never been to England. So, I kind of secretly, I sometimes say, oh, that's the real reason I finally wrote a book, so I could justify my long held desire to travel to England. But now I have been there, I don't even know, 8 or 9 times probably.
Oh, wow. Wonderful.
So my husband and I, thankfully I'm married to a man who also loves England. He's not saying, England again? And I've hosted a few trips there. hosting another one next June for readers or whoever wants to. But I love the Cotswolds region. It's not one specific town, but it's a region that's made up of a lot of those quintessential villages with the honey-colored stone and the thatched roofs and the historic churches and the cozy pubs and the sheep in the back. I love a village. I'm more of a country girl at heart than a city slicker. We don't even always go into London anymore because we've been there, but we really like the countryside better. So I would say the Cotswolds. My husband would say Bath or Bath, as they say.
Bath,
over there.
Yes. I've heard that it's beautiful there too. I haven't heard about the Cotswolds though, but I feel like just the way you described it, it sounds gorgeous. It sounds
they're not
absolutely
far apart. You can go there, Kelly, and you can go to Bath and the Cotswolds. I allow that. It's close.
You know what? I'm going to have to tell my husband. I'm going to say, now we have to go. It's not, he would be up for anything. Actually, we just, his family is from Ireland. Like they came over, his grandma and grandpa, actually great grandma and grandpa met at Ellis Island when they were like coming over, like to both very Irish. So he has like this little like want to go there and visit. So I'm going to get him to sneak over and we're going to go to England as well. We're just going to do a big trip.
You should. That sounds like a love story you should be writing there, Kelly. The meeting in the island thing. You should do that.
Oh, that's a great idea.
It is
a great idea. His dad would be so excited. Their last name is Phelan. I think it's Phelan, how you say it, or Phelan. And his great grandparents' last name. And so, yes, very Irish. That is a good idea for a story, Julie.
Should go. We've only been to Ireland once for a couple of days, and then it's super easy. I'd like to go back, but it's super easy to fly from, say, Dublin over to the west of England. It's an hour and a half flight, so you could definitely do both in one trip.
It sounds amazing. See, now I want to start making plans. I love the countryside though too. I think that sounds just gorgeous, like you said. Just with the background, like with the hills and with like green, there's just something about that I could just totally picture it. You would think that you were a person who does that for a living, who says amazing descriptions. I felt like I was there already. Anyway, but that sounds really cool. And I love that you got a chance and you go and have these like events over there. Are they like where readers can come up? Do you like combine it with a couple other authors, or do you just kind of plan these events around the time that you plan to travel there?
Well, we did a couple of them before, 2020 and all of that. We did a couple. Now it's been a long break, but it's just a reader trip. So anybody can sign up. We have a travel agent and all that. I'm not going to try to buy people airline tickets. And, I'm not an expert on that, but we have done it a couple times. I get to plan the itinerary and places like Bath and the Cotswolds and Cornwall and Devon and all these places I love. We'll get to visit. It's sold out really quick this time for 2026. So it's all full. So I'm not trying to sell anybody a spot, but it is really a great experience. And if anybody's interested, as Kelly kindly said, sign up for my email list, because hopefully, Lord willing, maybe there will be another trip.
Oh yeah.
Years from now, so.
I love it. I love that you do that. Oh my gosh. And do you share any pictures like in the Facebook group or anything like that of the trip? Oh, good.
I will. I had plans to, post about the trip on Facebook and put it on my website. And I sent out one email pretty much, and it was full. So then and that did not happen. I'm not bragging. The first two trips, I was having to remind people, for probably a month or two before it sold. So we were completely taken off guard by how quickly this one.
Aww. Well, that's great. That's great. I'm so happy that it like sold out for you so fast. Yeah. I think that's amazing. I can't wait to see the pics in the Regency group. I love it.
Yeah.
So let's chat about, so you have a couple things to talk about. I wanted to ask you about this new book that you have coming out. It is Whispers at Painswick Court, and it looks really neat. So you combine a couple things. You combine like the historical romance with a little bit of like a mystery kind of element. So do you want to just kind of talk about that a little bit, and even just the setting for this story?
I'd love to. So yes, you hit on it. I have written, I don't know, 22 books or something like that now, and most of them have been, more of the historical romance. But I have written over the years, oh, I don't know, 3 or 4 that are definitely far more mysterious. A few that are actual whodunits, where it is
Yeah.
more that Agatha Christie style, you know, who trying to figure out who the guilty party is. And I have to say, I really like that kind of the brain puzzle that the mystery, excuse me, the mystery offers. I know we all like different books. I'm not such a big fan of just, you start a book and right away there's what's going to happen to some degree. I do like to have a little bit more of what's going on and what's the truth behind this person and that sort of thing. So my brain loves to write a mystery, but it is also really challenging, I think, to get all the plot pieces and the red herrings and the timelines and who was where when and all of that to work out. So they are definitely a challenge, but I do love it. But I am a romance lover. If there's not romance in something, I'm going to have a really hard time being engaged. I'm not saying I've never read a book without romance that I liked, but in general, I really like to have that love story. So this does have both. It's about a young woman who's sort of sworn off marriage. Her stepmother has spent many, many eons trying to set her up, the whole matchmaking thing, and she's tired of it. She's worked with her dad. Her dad was a surgeon, and she's kind of been his right hand. She wants to live this productive life, sort of like a nurse, as you know about Kelly. She wants to be useful and lead this productive life, and she wants to get away from all that matchmaking stuff. So she goes to Painswick, which is this village that she spent all her summers in growing up. Her grandparents live there, and she goes there. And I'll tell you a little bit about Painswick in a minute. But so she goes there, and she's asked to serve as the chamber room nurse or sick room nurse, to and kind of the matriarch of the village, the rich woman in the manor house. But she's had some history with this woman. This woman forbade her nephew to marry her sister. So there's some bad blood there, some resentments there. But she loves to be useful, so she agrees. And so she goes into this manor house. She's got some history with the woman, also with the handsome nephew and the captain nephew. And pretty soon some mysterious things start happening. And it becomes obvious someone's trying to kill the woman. So she gets caught up in the mystery. There's romance. There's questions about the other nephews that are living in the home, the grown daughter. There are 2 doctors who are in and out trying to care for this woman. And one of them is definitely trying to change her mind about this no romance, no marriage situation for the future. So she's trying to balance that because she's really drawn to him. But but I think I already know what my plan is. This is what I'm going to do in my life. And then, sometimes we've all found that maybe in our lives, we thought our life was going to be A, and maybe God's plan was B, C, or D, or Z. We don't always get to lay out our lives as we think. So that's a little bit about the story. And Painswick is one of those Cotswolds villages that I mentioned. Its nickname is the Queen of the Cotswolds. And my husband and I visited there a few years ago. Just, I think we were there for a day or, even a few hours. And I was like, whoa, that instant, so smitten with it. It's big, beautiful church and churchyard. There's all these old stone buildings. And I'm like, I want to set a book here someday. So we went back a few years later and stayed in the village and met some members of the local history society who gave me all these sources and have been answering my questions. And sure enough, the manor there has all kinds of kind of delicious Gothic-y, stories about it and, hauntings and all of that. That kind of worked in well for that kind of more Gothic setting. So looking forward to getting back to Painswick, maybe taking that group trip there when we go next summer. But it's a charming, charming place. And I'm happy to take readers there, at least in the pages of this book.
Oh, yeah. It sounds really, really neat. And I was going to say, it almost kind of sounds like another character. I mean, that's kind of the fun part about like the historical setting too. I feel like it's like its own character, especially if it has like such a unique kind of elements about it, like hauntings and stuff. Oh my gosh, I can't, but I love it.
And
Listen to
I'm
me.
not,
I can't. I can't
I'm
in
not
your books.
huge into, ghosts and all that,
Yes.
but it's, it is historical. There've been, it's the ghost of King Charles the First, and clanking iron through the corridors and things that just lend itself, I think, really well, and without getting too far down that path. But um, yeah, I hope readers will enjoy that part of it, but also the romance and trying to figure out the solution. So.
Oh, yeah. And that's very difficult. You are 100% true about the mystery, right? The mystery elements. I mean, there really is such a science to it. One of the writers in my writers group is a mystery author, and she's actually going to be dabbling into like historical romance, actually, and mystery too. And we're always asking her different things. Now, I don't there was a couple little elements in my book, but it is right, like how you said about the red herring, and I was like, what is the red herring? And we actually just had our little writers retreat, and we watched Clue. Do you remember that movie Clue? It was like from the
Yeah,
90s.
Tim Curry
Yes.
and I can't remember everybody, but yeah.
Yes, Tim Curry was like the main guy. Who else? Oh, Christopher Lloyd was in there. He was Professor Plum. And
Oh, I forgot. I might have to dig that one, dust that
oh
one
my
off.
gosh, I know, it was so long ago. Oh my gosh, who was in there too? There was another guy, I forget his name, but he was in a bunch of other movies. But, yeah, but we were just, like, laughing about it, and because it was just, like, a silly, thing, like, we're trying to plot, like, some mystery elements. It was just funny because the red herring because I'm like, "What is a red herring?" And they were, like, quoting the movie Clue, saying about, like, "Communism was the red herring," like, how they say that in the movie. I'm like, "Oh, I need to see this." I did not I know I don't think I think I saw parts of it, but anyway, it was fun.
I haven't
But
watched it
yeah.
since then, but I think I will. But I think it started because my husband is a complete nonfiction reader. He
Oh,
loves nonfiction. That's it. But well, I shouldn't say it. The exception is he loves a mystery. So if we're going on a car trip, or if we're going to sit down and want to watch something together, I don't like all his boy movie, car crashes and World War II, everything. That's, but we can both watch and enjoy mysteries. So, we've watched so many, the old Agatha Christie's and Marples and Poirot's, and also listen to tons of audiobooks. And that is the fun thing, trying to figure it out and kind of quizzing each other. And then, yeah, it's a fun conversation starter. And yeah, we both like them. So I think that's why I started writing more mysteries, because we listened and watched so many.
oh, yeah, it does sound fun, and it really is fun. I've always loved them as a kid. Do you remember the old, Choose Your Own Adventure books?
Wow,
Like,
that's going back. I know what the concept is. I don't know if I actually ever read any.
I used to read some. It was also years ago, Julie, I will say, many years. But and then I tried to write my own as a kid. Oh my gosh, that was crazy. I would be like, "Go to if you want this ending, go to page 10." It was like not like the thick books that have like real endings built in because it's just like pages, notebook paper stapled together. But yes, they were always so fun. Mysteries,
You
it just is
started
fun.
young,
Yeah.
just like me. Yeah.
Yes, for sure, for sure. I feel like God implants that, right? Like he implants that in your heart. He wants to give you the desires of your heart. And it is funny. It's just funny to hear you say like how you're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm your favorite author," because it's just so great. I love that you have this because you reach so many people. You're encouraging so many people with these stories that are put on your heart. And over 20 books later, I mean, that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. And
Well,
he's
thank
just
you.
doing such a work in you. I love it. I love to see it. It's just wonderful. And you'll have that time one on one with your readers on these trips. I mean, that is just absolutely wonderful. I love it.
Thank you.
Yes. So Anne, I wanted to say too, just going back to the Whispers of Painswick Court, I love those stories where the heroine is very against love, right? It's so fun to watch how she like comes around or learns or has like a different viewpoint, and especially while like trying to figure out what's going on at this crazy place
Mm-hmm.
where all this stuff is happening. It just sounds really fun.
Yeah, and in my time period, women were really, I mean, that was like their main goal in life in general, was to get married and to marry well. But I find the more research I do, people are people. There were exceptions, and just as today, not one size fits all. But certainly there was. It's not so unusual to come across someone nowadays who just doesn't really, not really interested in marriage. But back then, it was she had that added societal pressure, besides just, from her family or she, that she bucks up against. But
Oh yeah,
she'll come
absolutely.
around. Spoiler, all my books have happy endings.
Spoiler alert, it'll be happy. So there is another story that I thought you might want to just mention, considering just the time frame of this, like when this episode is going out, because you wrote this beautiful novella, the holiday novella, A Sea View Christmas. Do you want to just let the listeners know a little bit about that story too?
I would love that. So A Seaview Christmas kind of wraps up a series called On Devonshire Shores. And that series, people seem to really love it. It's about four sisters. Well, actually five, because there's a secret sister we learned more about later. So you don't have to have read the whole series, but if you do, this, I think the novella will, have a little extra meaning for you. But in this book, we've got that the sister who was the one who was trying to hold everything together, doing all the work. She had her one chance at love, she thinks, and she lost it. So she's just gonna keep her nose down and keep the family together. And so we've been waiting for a long time for Sarah to have her happy ending. So she finally gets it in A Seaview Christmas. And this very handsome Scottish widower who she turned down comes back on the scene for Christmas at Seaview. So it's romantic and got the thing with the family drama and the romance and all those wonderful old English traditions. Those 12 days of Christmas, were a real thing, and they knew how to do it up. And then the youngest sister, who's been kind of the tomboy, she's 17. She's seen her sisters get their hearts broken and all of that. She's like, not for me. But she has kind of her first run in with first love, or at least first crush. And while she's trying to get Sarah going on her own romantic journey. So she provides, I think, lots of comedy and heartwarming elements too. So this one has been going over really well. People seem to really love it. And that just, touches my heart that people are really enjoying this one. So yeah, so good time for a Christmas read or a Christmas gift for your readers or your listeners. Hopefully both.
I know. I say the same thing. Your readers listening. That's we'll combine them.
I love audiobooks, so it works for me.
Yes. Oh, do you prefer audiobooks, or do you just do both?
I do both, but I'm not very good at exercising, and so if I have a really good audiobook, so then I can, then I'm more willing to walk in the warmer weather or the cold weather or whatever. So I love to have a story going when I go for a walk or a long drive. I love it. And I love that for my books, they hire real British narrators, because you would not want to hear my cheesy British accent for 12 hours, but they hire professionals. So they're a joy to listen to. But yeah, I listen to a lot of audiobooks just for my own pleasure.
Oh yeah, I'm the same way. I feel like it is a little bit, I can read more that way. Do you feel like that too? Because you're doing other things, right? And you feel good about it. You're going out for a walk and doing things. And then especially driving, I feel the same way. And I remember more, I think, with audio for some reason, like even with podcasts too. I do like to read though as well, but like have it on my phone. I use the Kindle app on my phone, but yeah, some about audio. I agree.
I like it.
I agree. I love too, just to touch on the Seaview Christmas novella. I love how you wrap up. Novellas are so fun in that way, especially around Christmas time. Just put you in the mood. especially like you said, English with the 12 Days of Christmas. And then you can wrap up characters that maybe people really love. And they're like, what's happened with this character? What's happened with this character? I love that. I love that you just are serving your readers that way. That sounds like it just sounds lovely, especially this is a perfect time to read that.
Thank you.
Yes, for sure. Are there any, I know sometimes like with English, are there any certain like recipes for Christmas or something that you've ever come across like in doing your like research for this book or even other books? I know sometimes that there's
Yeah,
like fun recipes.
they have some. There's certainly some British kind of Christmas specialties. Most of your listeners will have heard of them. Famous ones like mince pies, which are
Oh,
actually
yeah.
quite good. And one thing I like about the English people is that okay, this is going to be a generality, but most Americans don't really like fruitcake, or at least it gets a bad rap, right? But in England, or a lot of their cakes, like you hear about Christmas pudding or plum puddings, and there's no plum in
Mm.
plum pudding; it's raisins and other dried fruit. It's all that dried fruit goodness, which as a fruitcake lover is in there. So yeah, so obviously mince pies has all the dried fruit, as do plum puddings as well. So yeah, they do have treats, and they had what we would call cookies, they call biscuits, and they
Mm.
have wonderful gingerbread um, and all kinds of other things too. But I've made mince pies and I like them. Erica and Michelle and I got together and made Christmas pudding one year and filmed that. That was kind of fun, just to
Oh, that's
try
so
it.
fun.
A Regency treat, but
I love
so
it.
those are a
I
few
love
that
it.
come to my mind. Yeah.
Yeah, and those sound delicious. They really do. And I know I never got the thing about fruitcake. I feel like it's good. I like fruitcake, but I feel like probably the English version is probably better than, than our version in America. But yeah, I think that it's good. It sounds delicious, especially the Christmas pudding.
Well,
I
you'll
do.
have to try it. Okay, not you can just buy it at the store.
I'll just buy it.
It's a lot of work.
Oh, I bet. I bet. Especially just, going off of like a traditional recipe
Right.
kind of
We were
thing. Yeah.
shredding suet. I thought that was bird food, but we were shredding suet, and you have to steam this pudding in big tubs of pots of water, and yeah, it was an experience. But
Oh
that
my
one I have
goodness.
not recreated at my own home, but I have made mince pies, and those are delicious too, and much easier.
You have to steam the pudding and stuff. That sounds like a lot of work. How did
Mhm.
it turn out? Was it good?
Well, don't tell Erica. Just kidding. It was a little dry, so she had made some kind of buttery sauce that helped, but it was a little bit of a drier cake, kind of a cake texture, but put
Oh.
enough sauce on anything, right?
Sauce and butter.
Yeah, it was some
Just
kind of
butter it up.
buttery sauce, sweet buttery sauce. I don't remember which one she made, but yeah, it was
It's good.
okay. Yeah, it was
Yeah. Well, it was more about the fun. Hanging
right.
with your girls and having a good time. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Making memories. Well, this has just been wonderful, Julie. We are about at time. Did you want to the one thing I actually wanted to ask you, just on your journey, just writing, and also with this story, even maybe tied to these books? Did you have a specific Bible verse that really encouraged you, like throughout your journey, that has always just kind of spoke to you?
Well, I have a couple things. I suppose if you've read any of my books, you will pretty much see that there's always a theme of second chances and grace, because those are things that God has um, done in my own life. Having come to Christ a little bit later, there's always at least some of that in there. And then in terms of a Bible verse, there's just there's been a lot of reasons to be anxious, and if any of your listeners are moms, there's always reason to be anxious, even now that my kids are fully grown adults. That doesn't end. So I find myself repeating the verses from Philippians quite often. I'm the be anxious for nothing, but in all things by prayer and supplication bring your requests before God. I think I forgot Thanksgiving. With thanksgiving and the peace of God that transcends all understanding will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. And that one just comes to me a lot. And writing is sometimes what's next, but certainly, so it comes up for that. But mostly in my life, I guess, personally. But that's what my life kind of does show up in my books sometimes, our faith and our experiences. So it's kind of all wrapped together. So that's a verse I would say is a good one to remember if you tend to be a worrywart like I sometimes am a little too much.
Yes, that's a very good one. Very, very good. And it's so hard. It's so simple, but it really is hard for us, I feel like sometimes, especially whenever you're in the midst of feeling really worried about something or anxious and you're just like, because it's taking away the control that we feel like we have, right? So like as soon as you have to surrender that, it's like I don't have any more control. But what we don't realize is that's how the peace comes, is that it's on him. You're giving it to him and he'll work it together for good for those who love him, right? So
Yeah,
it's
that's a good
very
point.
tough.
We have the illusion of control, or we try to,
Yeah,
but yeah, the reality is that we don't. And so it's best to surrender, but it's hard. It is hard, hard, hard. So
it's
good
very
reminder
hard.
for me as well.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for that encouragement. And I, as a mom, absolutely agree. I don't think it would matter. It's just different worries, right? From whenever they're little to like when they're adults, right? You still have that. They're still your little baby in there. So yeah, you're always going to have that for them for sure.
Yeah, always
It's
going to
tough.
care. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Julie. Thank you for sharing your heart and just these wonderful books with us and just more about your author journey. I'm so excited. It was so nice to chat with you and talk with you about it. Where is the best place that readers can connect with you and then also get a copy of these wonderful books, The Whispers at Painswick Court and A Sea View Christmas?
Thank you. Well, I think I mentioned I spend way too much time on the Facebook group Inspirational Regency Readers. So that's probably the place you can find me most often in terms of actually there interacting. Of course, I have a website and all the other Facebook. I love Instagram too and post pictures of England whenever I travel there. So any of those places, you can connect with me. And then gratefully, my books are available in many places, online retailers. Some local stores will have it, not all. Um, and of course, Kindles or audiobooks, they're all there. So I hope if you do read it or listen, you will enjoy them.
Oh, yes, for sure. And I will have the links too in the show notes as well, and a link to your website. So
Thank you.
thank you so much, Julie. This has been just a wonderful pleasure. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you, Kelly. I really enjoyed this, and you're fun and easy to talk to. So appreciate
Aw, you are too. You're
it.
fun. We got to make Christmas pudding.
I will if you will.
We'll try to make it. We'll say that. We'll just post what it's supposed to look like and then the epic fail picture. But we'll post all the fun that comes with it. Oh, you're the best. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
What a joy to share today's episode with you. I hope it encouraged your heart and inspired your love for stories that reflect God's grace and goodness. If you enjoyed our conversation, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a new episode. And because we're so grateful you're part of this community, we love to bless you with lots of books. Enter our latest giveaway by visiting ChristianRomancePodcast.com. That's ChristianRomancePodcast.com. Thanks so much for listening. And until next time, keep your faith, share the love, and happy reading.